Coming up on Cronkite Sports Report, an on-ice outlet for wounded veterans and athletes with disabilities.
An ASU effort to turn Sun Devil Stadium into a year-round cultural hub.
A two-time national champion at UCONN returns home to join the Sun Devil family.
A Laveen High School pays tribute to its starting shooting guard after a tragic accident.
We go for a ride with Tucson Roadrunner Brandon Burlon.
And the Fall League turns 25.
Welcome to Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Corey Kamershak.
And I'm Giselle Cancio. As student journalist at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, we look to bring you unique sports stories with an Arizona connection. This includes high school, collegiate, and the professional level. We begin tonight on the ice. The Arizona Coyotes have donated over $500,000 to local charities and organizations this season. One beneficiary, the Phoenix Coyotes Sled Hockey Association. Cronkite Sports reporter Madeline Hyman talked to some of the injured veterans and athletes who have found new athletic life on the sled.
Years before Kathy Zimmerman took the ice for the Coyote sled hockey team, she suffered a spinal cord injury during a training exercise in the Marines. An avid athlete at the time, Zimmerman feared that she would no longer be able to play sports.
When I got hurt in the military, I thought sports were pretty much over for me. And it was something that was really devastating when I came back and I tried to play basketball like I normally had in high school. And my arms and legs would go numb and they'd have to carry me off the court.
Zimmerman tried sled hockey for the first time and she was hooked.
I just showed up on a Sunday to try it for an hour, and as soon as I was strapped into a sled, it was like my life was given back to me. I always wanted to. It was honestly a kid's dream. This was my childhood dream, to play hockey.
Sled hockey athletes sit in specially designed sleds attached to two hockey skate blades. They use their arms to push themselves around the ice, and instead of one long stick, players use two sticks to control the puck. Joey Hamilton, the team's general manager, played hockey until he was 18 and played soccer in college. After he was injured in a motorcycle accident, he tried basketball and road racing before returning to a sport he had always loved.
I smelled the rink, and that brought back so many memories, and so it was weird. I was just waiting for the Zamboni guy to lift me up a little step, because I couldn't at that point. I didn't know how to do it, and I was waiting for him. It was weird. I kind of started tearing up, and it was weird. It was like I was home again.
The Coyote sled hockey team started almost 12 years ago. Athletes, whether disabled or not, are allowed to participate.
And if anybody, even able-bodied, can come and play. And we have several players that play father and son, so it's a really good sport for if one of them is disabled, like a son or a father, and the other one can play. So it's one of the only sports that can do that.
It means I have a community again. I have an outlet. Hockey is a very physical sport. Being a Marine, I'm extremely physical, or I used to be. So being able to be a part of the team is like I said, it's literally getting my life back and being able to be a part of a community again.
Hockey is a passion for many players, but for the Coyote sled hockey team, strapping on a sled means more than just playing a hockey game. They're family on and off the ice.
It opens you up to this incredible sport called hockey. Hockey is a fraternity, and whether you're sled hockey or you're playing in the beer league, or you're in the NHL, or you're retired NHL, it's just a sport that everybody loves, and it's just a brotherhood. Like, once you play, you don't want to never stop playing.
Got a bunch of brothers over there. We pick on each other back and forth, and it's a really good time. We hang out like a family.
Zimmerman says that being in the military was one of the best times of her life, and joining the Coyote sled hockey team gave her the camaraderie she remembers while serving in the Marines. Hockey gave her life back.
There's life after your injury. There really is. And when you get hurt, there's so much of feeling that your life is over. And in one respect it is. But it's a chapter. That's it. Your next chapter begins. And there's a lot of us out here that want you here and welcome you here, and come out. And even if you're able-bodied, come out. We'd love to put you in a sled so you can give it a shot too. Just come out and enjoy, be a part of the family, be a part of the team. We'd love to have you.
In Scottsdale, Madeline Hyman, Cronkite Sports Report.
Coming up on Cronkite Sports Report, as renovations continue, Sun Devil Stadium looks to keep the building active outside of football season.
Fans stream into Sun Devil Stadium for football games throughout the fall. But with a multi-year renovation project underway, stadium developers continue to look for innovative ideas on how to make use of the stadium the rest of the year. Miranda Tomlinson has more.
Sun Devil Stadium is 3 years into a renovation that began in 2013 as a part of the Sun Devil Stadium 365 program. One of Arizona State's goals in reinventing the building, originally constructed in 1958, was to think beyond football and make the stadium accessible and useful to the community year-round. At the center of this effort to transform the stadium into a year-round cultural hub, the Sun Devil Stadium Reinvention Committee.
It was a group of students who, once a month worked with the university staff, athletic staff, to kind of come up with how students could use this new third place on campus.
The idea of a third place is that it is a getaway from home and work, or in the student's case, home and school.
Some of the ideas that were thrown around right away were more movie nights on the field. Students wanted to study in the suites that are in the stadium. I mean, they're the perfect size. The older students and graduate students wanted to have cocktail parties in one of the club levels.
Last January, this project was turned over to ASU's Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts. At the start of every spring semester, the design school holds a competition for junior students where the teams consist of the 5 different design disciplines: architecture, landscape architecture, interior design, industrial design, and digital communication. In the past, the design school competition had focused on an array of broad world problems, such as oil spills and how to go about fixing them. But as of last spring, the task these students were to take on became a little more personal. The Sun Devil Stadium 365 project was now in their hands.
There were 160 students participating, 35 teams. And basically they were looking at how to re-envision the Sun Devil Stadium as a 365 third place. So for example, one of the teams, I remember that the 5 students in the team, they were from 5 different continents. It was just coincidence. And they came with all this proposal about having a cultural corridor that celebrated culture through the year.
The coolest idea that I think was the one that won the Sun Devil Central was their idea was that it would be a central park. It's a third place. It's a place for people to come relax, get away from work, school. It's a leisure place.
The 2016 competition was such a success that this upcoming January's design contest will revolve around the same idea of reinventing Sun Devil Stadium, only this time involving and representing the entire university.
Last year was a great competition. We saw 5 great ideas, and now I'm really excited to see what we're going to come up with in January.
Now construction is getting back underway here at Sun Devil Stadium, and while construction is going on inside the stadium, students around campus are gearing up for the Design School's 2017 cluster competition.
Imagine that the design students are kind of a whole different breed than probably engineers or people in English, so the needs of our students may be different from the needs of other students, and we want to have these ideas. We want to have the voice of everybody else in the university.
We want to reach the students, we want to reach the university, but this space is not just going to be for them. It's going to be for the entire valley, the ASU community, and everyone.
The 2017 design competition will be used to broaden the search for great ideas from all ASU students. And if construction stays on schedule, renovations are set to be complete in 2018. In Tempe, Miranda Tomlinson, Cronkite Sports Report.
We stay with Sun Devil Athletics for our next story. Courtney X Marks was one of the top high school basketball players in Arizona 2 years ago. She was recruited by UCONN and spent 2 seasons there, winning national championships both years.
Now she's returned home, transferring to Arizona State, and is playing for Charlie Turner Thorne, who she's known since she was 9 years old. I caught up with Courtney and her coach to find out why she decided to leave college basketball's most successful program to return to the desert. It's not often a coach meets one of her future players in elementary school, but that was the case with Courtney X Marks and Arizona State women's basketball coach Charlie Turner Thorne.
I met Courtney's dad speaking at the Scottsdale Quarterback Club when she was like 9 years old. And he was telling me about his little girls' AAU team and how they had just won the national championship.
From that moment forward, Turner Thorne followed X Marks' playing career, which included 3 straight Division I state titles at Phoenix's St. Mary's High School. After graduating, X Marks headed east to play for one of the most successful programs in the history of collegiate athletics, the UConn Huskies women's basketball team. She won 2 NCAA championships in Connecticut, but after averaging just over 9 minutes for the Huskies, she made a choice to return to the city that groomed her.
I think it's just time for a new opportunity, and when I came and visited ASU, it just really felt like home. Loved my teammates, clicked with them immediately, And then Charlie, obviously, I've known her since I was like 9 years old, and so just meeting with her and talking, and I really believed in her vision for the program, and so I really want to come here and play for her.
It's hard to express in words because she's someone that I did want to coach. You know, any time that she would want to be a part of our program would be phenomenal. But the fact that, you know, we're in this window where we're going to lose a very talented senior class, it's been really strong leaders, and we're going to have Courtney to step in, you know, and help continue our tradition.
Because the NCAA requires transfers like Ekmark to sit out a season, she's watching from the bench this year. But that doesn't deter her from working just as hard as her teammates at every practice.
It makes us better, especially defensively, just having to guard her. She's a great shooter and everything, so she helps us in that way, and then also just being vocal in practice as well.
My job is just to make sure that I'm doing my best, bringing energy every day to practice and trying to be a good leader so that they can be ready for the games. And then I'm just working, doing some extra stuff on my own to be ready for next year.
Until then, the Sun Devils are focused on making a 4th straight trip to the NCAA tournament.
Coming up on Cronkite Sports Report, Betty H. Fairfax boys basketball opens the season with a heavy heart and an empty seat on its bench as it deals with the loss of Isaiah Slater.
With 212 All-Stars, 12 MVPs, and 4 Cy Young Award winners among its alumni, the Arizona Fall League continues to cultivate baseball's rising stars 25 years after its birth. Welcome back to Cronkite Sports Report. Laveen's Betty H. Fairfax High School begins its boys basketball season without its star player.
Isaiah Slater dreamed of playing at the University of Arizona, but never made it past his 17th birthday. He was killed in a car accident last month. Lindsay Wisniewski visited the school to see how the team is honoring his legacy.
One seat on the Betty H. Fairfax basketball team's bench will remain empty this season. It belongs to Isaiah Slater. Slater, a 5'11" senior guard out of Laveen, was a person of few words, but big aspirations. His basketball dreams came to a halt on October 14th when Isaiah and Fairfax classmate Joanna Georges were killed in a car accident by a suspected drunk driver.
The incident occurred here off 59th Avenue and Camelback Road just hours before Isaiah's 17th birthday. Now, the Fairfax basketball community is left to fill a void of a player whose life ended too soon.
Oh man, he was one of the best. Always had a smile on his face, never down, energetic, but quiet though at the same time. He was the best man.
The best way to know him is on the court. Because that's where his personality came out the most.
We were down like 2 points, about 3 seconds left, and he just told me, he said, just pass me the ball, and it's gonna be a bucket, no matter who's guarding me. And we threw it into him and shot a fadeaway 3 from the top of the key, and it was money. And he didn't say any words, he just looked at me, smiled, and just sat down. It was game over. That's just who he was.
Slater was known for the range of his jump shot and the depth of his passion for basketball. He quickly earned the name King Uno for his desire to be the best. Entering his senior year, Ray says Slater was getting his basketball highlights ready to send off to colleges. He says Slater wasn't content with playing at the Division II or community college level because he had one school in mind.
He knew in his mind he was good enough to play on the biggest stage. And I think that was what was most alluring about U of A is, I mean, that's the best basketball team in town.
He wanted U of A, but he was gonna go somewhere. You know, it was just a fact, but you know, I already had seats, supposedly, saved for me wherever he went. I was gonna be right there next to him, watching him play. So, yeah, he was ready for the big stage.
Nobody in the Fairfax family was ready for what happened on October 14th, when the stage went dark.
Yeah, these boys are a family for each other, to me, and every time we break down a huddle, that's what we say is we say family. And you know, we did lose one of our family. And the boys have been great for each other, and they've been a family to help get each other through it. And they've been a family to me to help me get through it as well.
Rather than use the word family in the huddle, the team chose to say something that meant a little more.
He's just going to be remembered as one of the most passionate players we've had. You know, no kid at Fairfax has ever gone to a game and not left talking about him. I think his legacy is going to be one that is going to be revolved around basketball, because that's what he loved most and that's what most people associated him with. But his friends and family and teammates will remember him as a great person, a great teammate, and a great ball player.
Slater's teammates and coaches hope to honor him with their performance this season.
Come watch us play. You'll see what we're about. You'll see what he was about. Practice maybe, putting in the extra hours when everybody else is at home sleeping. We're in the gym, and that's where he was. That's where he would be right now if circumstances were different.
The team plans to retire Slater's jersey sometime this year. In Phoenix, Lindsay Wisniewski, Cronkite Sports Report.
The team will leave Isaiah's spot on the Fairfax bench empty throughout the season. Welcome back to Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Corey Kamershak. For the last 25 years, some of baseball's best prospects have spread out across the valley for 6 weeks in the fall. Cronkite Sports reporter Gina Berg explores the opportunity for these players to showcase their talents as they stand on the precipice of making it to the big leagues.
When Mike Piazza entered the Baseball Hall of Fame over the summer, it was a perfect birthday present for the Arizona Fall League, which turned 25 this year. He was the first Fall League graduate enshrined in Cooperstown.
That was a real watershed moment for the Arizona Fall League, because that is when it really put us on the map, that he's the first of what we think will be many players from the Fall League going to Cooperstown. So it was wonderful, and it was something that we cherish and that we look forward to having additional players go to Cooperstown.
The AFL is home to 6 teams that Major League Baseball clubs send their top prospects to. Michael Jordan, Mike Trout, and Derek Jeter are some of the top notable players that have passed through this developmental league.
The league's 6-week season runs from early October through mid-November. Before the Fall League began play in 1992, many players would leave the U.S. after their minor league seasons ended and play winter ball in their home country. The Fall League gave Major League teams an easier, more convenient way to monitor their players. It also created an environment for players to develop their skills against top talent.
Where the prospects from different organizations can come, mostly younger prospects, are going to come here and just get a little more seasoning, if you want to call it.
It's just been an opportunity to continue to be around some good baseball players. I think that's what I've enjoyed the most, is just watching some of the top prospects in the game come out here and continue to hone their craft and get some great exposure. Kind of like free baseball for them. Everybody knows that they can play, but you get a chance to come out here and put some important eyes and really put yourself on display.
It's not only players getting a chance to shine against top-flight competition, the Fall League gives coaches the opportunity to test their managerial mettle. Tom Goodwin is in his 5th season as the New York Mets first base coach. Here in the Fall League, he is the manager of the Scottsdale Scorpions.
Like I said, it's a new avenue for me to come in and try to do, and know if I have the skills to not only manage a ball club, but it's really managing the day, trying to get schedules together, get times together where we're going to hit and we're going to take infield and we're going to have meetings or whatever it is. It just kind of helps me in organizing my day a little better, which hopefully that will help me when I coach.
This season, according to MLB.com, 20 of MLB's top 100 prospects spent their fall in Arizona. The AFL routinely draws Major League Baseball's top prospects, many of whom have gone on to stellar careers after their time in the desert.
Some of the outstanding players that we've had over the years that you could see at a very young age that they were destined to be superstars. Mike Trout, Chris Bryant. I mean, you could just see that there was something where they were cut out of different cloth, it seems like, than some of the other guys, that they were kind of a step ahead.
According to the Arizona Fall League, almost 60% of all AFL players go on to play on a Major League team. The AFL has been home to 212 future All-Stars, 12 MVPs, 4 Cy Young Award winners, 3 World Series MVPs, 66 Silver Sluggers, 58 Golden Gloves, and 25 Rookies of the Year. In Scottsdale, Gina Berg, Cronkite Sports Report.
Finally tonight, Cronkite News reporters Carly Swanson and Nicole Vasquez went down to Tucson to see how Coyotes prospect Brandon Burlon spends his time off the ice.
Typically you wake up around, depending where you live as well, pretty close to the rink. So we're on the ice at 10:30, you gotta be there at 9:30. I'll get out there early just so I can grab breakfast and stretch a little and do a little more waking up, because I typically just get up, brush my teeth, and head out the door. So yeah, typically you'll be up between 8:30, get to the rink. Depending on the day of the week it is, typically earlier in the week practices are a little bit longer. So you'll probably be there from 10:30 to noon, 12:30.
How do we get to Albertsons? I know the important stuff is gas, the rink, Albertsons, golf course, and my apartment.
Starting route to Albertsons. Head west on West Congress Street.
I'm big into burritos. You can kind of throw everything in there and you get everything all at once. You don't have to eat it bit by bit. Vegetables, pretty much all the good stuff. I got a bad habit with chips and salsa.
I'll eat lunch and then probably lay down for an hour, hour and a half. Wake up, have a bit of a snack, and then head out to the range. I've been living in pretty much cities for the past 5 years when I was with New Jersey and Albany. So this is definitely a change of pace for me. Everything's a little more laid back. I mean, you got your shrubbery over here, cacti, and basically desert. On the road, I room with Brandon Burlon, and we've found a common ground in golf. So we like to chat that. We like to shoot that breeze. For any kid that plays hockey, their dream is to somehow, turn it into not so much a living, but they want it to be what they do. I've been fortunate that I've been able to make a living off playing hockey, and gotten to meet a lot of different people, go a lot of different places, and experience a lot of different things. So I'm really grateful for that. Fortunately, in the past, I was only 6 hours from home, so I got to go home for Christmas and All-Star break for a couple of days, which was nice. But I mean, it's hard for especially like some European players because their family's back in, be it Russia, Sweden, Czech Republic, so it's tough for them to get over here, for them to get back. So they're really kind of away from home for the whole season until they can get back. And I think that's where your teammates and your friends in the area come into play. You kind of take care of one another. I know there's nothing like family, but we're the next best thing, I guess. Your friends and your teammates. So we definitely make a conscious effort to help some of those guys out that aren't able to get back home and be with their family and friends.
That'll do it for this edition of Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Giselle Cancio.
And I'm Corey Kamershak. For all of us here at Cronkite Sports, thank you for joining us.